Hi there, Smart Drivers. Rick with Smart Drive Test talking to you tonight about pretty much anything to do with driving. So ask me a question. We're more than happy to answer your questions about driving and starting a career. And yes, we're also going to talk about Veda because Veda died. Veda died on Thursday. It just got too much. So we're going to talk a little bit about priorities and learning new skills and doing things in our lives and prioritizing. And sometimes that's important, especially when we're trying to get a license or we're starting a career as a truck or bus driver or improving our skills and those types of things. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that too. Now, I don't have a presentation per se done for you tonight. I'm not going to do a presentation. I'm just going to answer your questions. So this might be a little shorter than normal. This probably won't go for a whole hour, but I will answer any questions that you have about driving or an upcoming license or those types of things. So Dave is here. Hi, Dave. Pablo is here. Hi there. And seventh like. I'm glad you're keeping track of that, Pablo. That's great. Miguel is here. How are you, Miguel? Where are you in the world, Miguel, and what license are you going for? Can I extend the streams? Why do you want me to extend the streams, Dave? An hour doesn't answer all of your questions? Okay, yes, so everybody's here and we're getting going here. So Veda, as I said, Veda didn't work out the end of the month, and the reason that Veda didn't work out the end of the month is because, as you know, for smart drivers who've been around for a little while, I am a single dad and I have a couple of kids, and I like to spend time with my kids because I know that, you know, tomorrow they're going to be teenagers and not really here, and so I value my time with my children a lot. So that takes priority in most of the things that I do. As well, I would have to say that I'm a bit tired with YouTube. I will say that. It's been almost 2.5 years on YouTube, and I am getting a bit tired. And it didn't help that in the middle of Veda, while I was working at Veda, there was a downturn in my channel. Like, I mean, a significant downturn, and so that didn't help to keep me motivated. Hi there, Matt. How are you? Dave, I think you're the only one that's going to find it interesting, Dave, if I extended the stream. But I will answer any questions you got. So there we go. All right. So basically, I had a downturn in YouTube. Plus, I'm also working on another business adventure with with a business partner, and we're working on a business adventure in real estate. Now, that's not to say that I'm going to abandon the channel. I'm not going to do that at all. I'm going to go back to doing 2 videos a week and a live stream, which is what I was doing before. Edgar, how do my kids? My kids are supportive. My kids are in the other room, actually. And I bribed them for the live stream there, Edgar, because after the live stream they get ice cream at the end of the live stream, so it's much better now. So anyway, yeah, no, Dave, it's not. It's all good. You know, it's part of a longer journey, and you know, people who do YouTube talk about this, right? YouTube is it's not a sprint. It's not a marathon rather. YouTube is really, it's a lifestyle. I mean, you have to be committed to doing a certain number of videos, and you know, for any of us who've done videos, it's a lot of work, and it takes a lot of energy and pressure to keep going there. So you know, unfortunately, because of Veda, I put some other videos that I should have been getting done on the back burner, and they haven't been done, and I need to get to those videos. And the other thing is, I was down at the intersection one day and I was working on a video, and I was just like, you know, I was running out of ideas, and I refused to put poor quality videos up on the channel. I want to do videos that are of quality, and some of those videos are going to take a little bit more time because they're more like a full driving lesson. So that's really what I'm doing. I'm just kind of taking a step back, reassessing where I want the channel to go, and making sure that I put up quality content for all of you, the smart drivers who are out there and supporting the channel. So that's all really great. So Miguel is in Chicago. That's really great. Hi, Jen. Jen is there. And Jen, yes, I have your video, and we're working on it. Like I said, the Veda got a little ahead of me there, so I'm not sure that was such a great idea. But anyway, Vanessa, here in California, there's a reversing portion where you pull over and you're supposed to back up straight. Do I look through the rear window the whole time? Yes, you do, Vanessa. And Corey will get the video for you that you are specifically looking for to back up along the curb. That's when... no, Dave, I didn't have to do VEDA. That was voluntary. Now, I will say this about VEDA. I did learn a lot about VEDA. I did learn a lot from doing VEDA for the 20 days or 22 days that I did do videos for VEDA. I did learn a lot. I learned a lot more about audience retention on my videos. I learned how to make them more punchy. I did learn a lot. No, don't get me wrong. So it wasn't a futile exercise, but it was voluntary on my part, and I think it was a little bit too much. I think for these people who are vlogging and you're just talking to the camera and you're just kind of editing a little bit, but I'm doing B-roll and a lot of other things in terms of my videos. So it just got too much, and there's like I said, I'm a busy person. There's a lot of other things going on in my life, and I had to prioritize. So there we go. Driving lessons by Big Mac Sam. That would be Sam. Jericho Arroyo, yes, who are usually, but that's actually Sam. So there he is. The Crazy Twos. Okay, the Crazy Twos. Yes, breathe. Focus on your breathings, Crazy Twos, in terms of being behind the wheel, and have the mantra in your head that I can do this, I am a safe driver. Work on that. So work on your breathing, work on that mantra in your head, and that will help to relax some of your fears and tensions. And the other thing that I suggest to you, Crazy Twos, in terms of driving, is look at the video, and Corey will get this for you, learning to drive and doing some of the work with the 36-inch, 1-meter tall pylons in the parking lot, and that'll help you too as well. So there we go. You're most welcome, Sam. Paul had a question here. Aruna. G2 twice and failed. And Aruna, what was the reason that you were unsuccessful on your road test? Because, yeah, that can help you out. Paul, road test didn't pass. Actually, I didn't get out of the parking lot. Oh, sorry to hear that, Paul. Yeah, tints on windows, that can be problematic in terms of a vehicle. And what I might suggest to you is to either get rid of the tint, whether you can or you can't, or go to a driving school and just hire a car. Get them to take you out for a mock road test and then tell them you want to go down for the road test. That might work out for you too. Okay? Yeah, and that's a good point, is that if you have tints on your side windows, then that may affect your road test here in BC, and it's really unfortunate when that happens to you, because I've seen that before, not just with tints on windows, but I've seen other students who've gone in for a road test here in BC, and they borrowed their uncle's car from Alberta. Well, in Alberta, you don't have to have front license plates, and then the ICBC examiner will deny them a test because it doesn't have a license plate on the front of the vehicle. There we go. Thank you so much, Miguel. That's really great, and that really helps me to keep motivated. Visited there this summer. Where was that, Dave? Where did you visit? So there we go. Okay, so Aruna, I've been asked to take left turn where there is no signal and stop sign. Okay, so what happened when you did the left turn, Aruna? Did you stop, or did you just wait to the way to clear, signal, and then proceed? Because maybe that's the issue that you're having, is you're just having difficulties with your left-hand turns. If that's the issue, then you need to work on those skills. And what I might suggest is that you work with a driving instructor to improve those turning skills. So that's one of the things you can do as well. Have I ever been to British Columbia before, Dave? Okay, there we go. Oh, you're visiting this summer. Oh, so you're coming out here this summer. No, that's really great. Y3R, how are you? That's really great that you're here as well. Everybody's here. Okay, so going back to what I was talking about in terms of VEDA, and this is one of the things that you're going to learn about life, is that the older you get, you don't really figure out life. You figure out what you don't want to do. You don't really figure out what you do want to do. But you know that at some point, the amount of things that you're trying to accomplish, the amount of tasks that you're trying to accomplish, and the amount of things that gets on your plate is that eventually you got to get to some point where you say no. And healthy people are people who are able to say no. And I'm going to tie this into driving in just a minute here. So what happened a few years ago, and I'll tie this into driving in terms of prioritizing things that you're doing in your life. I had a student, I was teaching him to drive truck, and he had a part-time job, so he was going to driving school at the same time he was taking driving lessons. And the night before his test, he said, "Oh, I'm off to work tonight." And I knew he worked afternoons, like he worked from 4 o'clock until 1 o'clock in the morning or some crazy thing like that. And I said to him, I said, "So you're going to go to work tonight? You're going to work till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. You're going to get home. You're not going to go to sleep for an hour because you're all wound up. And then you're going to go and do a driving test tomorrow?" I said, you can't do that. I said, you need to prioritize. You need to either figure out whether you're going to go to work tonight or you're going to go and do your driving test tomorrow. I said, you can either do one or the other, because I said, if you go to work tonight, you know, I'm going to cancel your road test because you're not going to show up. You're not going to be prepared for your road test. You need to get a good night's sleep. You need to relax. You need to eat and drink and those types of things. And you can't do your best when you're fatigued at something. So one of the reasons that I didn't complete Veda is because there was just too much on my plate. Something needed to give. So that's the lesson that came out of that, and I hope that's a lesson that you can take this away from this as well, is that the older you get and the more stuff you get, eventually you have to say no to somebody, or you have to, you know, get into something and then you realize, oh my God, it wasn't what I expected, and you need to take a step back and you need to reevaluate and you need to say no. So that's the lesson that we can take out of me coming back from Veda. So Tracy, all the way from Granada, that's great. And Lucky 55, you are most welcome for all the videos. We need Rick in every state. Well, you know, YouTube is allowing me to do that. Hi, Michael. Michael, I didn't get a chance yet. As I was saying, I have been incredibly busy the last few days, so it's been pretty crazy. And tips on driving on the highway long distance. Yes, Edgar. If you're on the highway, make sure you're looking far down the road. The farther you look down the road, the more you can anticipate traffic, and you can anticipate traffic patterns and move over another road, interstates and those types of things. And as well, use cruise control. That's going to reduce distracted driving and those types of things. And if you're driving at night, make sure that you're not tired, that you know, if you're getting into the middle of the night and those types of things. Are you going to be driving at night? Edgar, just answer that question for me while carrying on. So, Dave, now you made that statement. How do you mean that the videos went down in quality? If I could get a little bit of feedback on that, that would be really great, because that would be really helpful for videos that I'm doing in the future, because I'm not disagreeing with that statement. I just want to make sure, because the other thing about the Veda videos is that series didn't do very well. Most of those videos didn't get more than a few hundred views, which is, you know, not usual for my channel. So that'd be interesting. Okay, let's see. Who else we got here? Okay. And what else happened this week? So the other thing that happened this week is I went up to Kenworth this week, and they actually gave me a truck. So I do have a couple of videos that, you know, will be late Veda videos, but I will put them up. I did get to drive in the big truck, and I did a couple of videos in driving in the big truck, so I'll show you that as well. But the plan is to really do some proper shifting videos to teach new drivers who want to be CDL drivers to be able to shift a non-synchromesh transmission, because despite the fact that most big trucks in the world are going to automatics, or most of them in the United States are 10 speeds, there are still a lot of places in the world that are still driving non-synchromesh transmissions in big trucks. So I'm going to do some work on that as well. Oh, okay. No, Aruna. Yeah, I just wanted some clarification on that, Aruna. I didn't miss you there. Okay. The question is there anywhere without signal lights or without stop all the way if we have to ask to take a left turn, and then how to react? Oh, Aruna, that's a bit tough. You have to give the way to any you have to give way to any approaching vehicles, Aruna, that when you're turning left, You have to signal well in advance. And if there are oncoming vehicles or oncoming road users or there's pedestrians in the cross street, when you're turning left, you have to give way to those vehicles or those road users before you can proceed if there aren't any, if it's not a controlled intersection. So when I say not a controlled intersection, it's either no stop signs, no yield sign, and no traffic lights. So know that for the purposes of turning left at an uncontrolled intersection. I think that's what you're asking me, okay? Mitchell. Okay, so Mitchell, in terms of a four-way stop, when you're pulling up to a four-way stop and everybody's going straight, look at the video on four-way stops and Corey will get that for you. Is that everybody's going straight, then what happens is the two lines of traffic on the two streets take turns. So if all the vehicles are going straight, these two vehicles will go, and these two vehicles will go, and then these two vehicles will go. It's almost as if they're taking turns at a four-way stop. That's how that works. Okay, so I did answer your question, Aruna. Really good. Great. Okay. Edgar. Okay. There we go. So, Edgar, you're driving during the day, and it's going to be really heavy traffic where I'm going. Okay, so just what you do, Edgar, is if it's more than 3 lanes, or if it's 3 lanes or more, you want to drive in the... So if it's 3 lanes, for example, you want to drive in the middle lane. That's going to be your best lane to drive in. You want to stay with the traffic flow, and you want to keep that good following distance of 2 to 3 seconds behind the other vehicles. If you can, if traffic's moving along at a constant speed, stay in that center lane. Set your cruise control 2 or 3 miles an hour behind what the flow of traffic is, and just try and keep it on so you can keep a steady speed. And look farther down the road so you can anticipate traffic patterns, you can anticipate slower vehicles. The reason you don't want to be in that inside lane, Edgar, is because a lot of vehicles are exiting off the freeway, or there's vehicles that are merging onto the freeway. So that's the other thing you want to watch too while you're driving down the road. And Corey will get a video for you on predicting traffic patterns on freeways, and it talks about that, about looking where the on-ramps and off-ramps are on highways and interstates, and the intersections as well on highways. And you want to be looking at those when you're driving on highways so that you can anticipate that and anticipate movement of other vehicles and traffic and whatnot. So there you go. Okay, Kayla, about judging a gap, if it is safe. I've been driving for about 9 months now with my license. I'm still having trouble with the gaps in traffic when making a left-hand turn. Yeah, that can be challenging, Kayla, and it's not surprising that that's posing challenges for you, because it is an acquired skill and it's difficult to determine gaps. Now, one of the things you want to start doing perhaps is start counting in your head. You're going to need sort of 8 to 10 seconds, depending on how many lanes you're crossing, in order for you to, from a dead stop, to get across lanes of traffic. And you're probably going to have to accelerate a little bit too. Sorry about that. My phone is on and is dinging there. So that's what you need to do, because you're going to need sort of 8 to 12 seconds. And Corey will find the video for you here on judging gap, and maybe that'll give you some information as well to determine gaps, because gap is going to be determined in time. And the higher the speed is, the more gap you're going to need in order to make turns safely. Okay. So, all right, pass a drug test if you're dirty. Redneck 82, I really don't know that. You need to clean up for a period of time before you go and take a road test. There really isn't any way to mask the test. It's pretty stringent now. They tape the toilets and everything. So I've had a few of them in the past number of years I've been driving trucks, so you're going to have a hard time with that. Is it something more serious than marijuana, or is it just marijuana? Aruna, while passing lanes, is it required to increase the speed? Passing lanes. Are you talking about passing lanes, Aruna, or are you talking about changing lanes from one lane to another? Because if you're changing lanes from one lane to another, then you need to increase speed slightly. Okay? Hey Ryan, sorry about that. I saw you there earlier, but I didn't get to your comment. So good evening and welcome from Ontario. There we go. There we go. Okay, and Dave. It was mostly talking about an intersection. Yeah, Dave. And I agree with you, Dave. And I think that's why that was the other reason that I stopped talking about it, because I just ran out of things to say about the intersection. And you're right, it wasn't about driving. So we're going to get back to the 3 a week, and I think we'll get back to a higher level, a higher quality level. So thanks for your feedback, Dave. That's really appreciated and really helps to improve the quality of videos and the quality of information that I'm trying to put out there on Smart Drive Test. Because I don't, I know that sometimes, every now and again you get a real stinker, like the motorcycle gear video that I'm going to take down and redo. So yeah, and that got done in the middle of Ada, and it wasn't the quality that I wanted it to be. So again, thank you for your feedback. I appreciate that. All right, okay. How do you pass a drug test? Well, Dave, if you're driving CDL vehicles in the United States, or you're a Canadian driver and you're going to be traveling into the United States, then they will assign you a lab, and you're going to have to go into a lab. And essentially what they do is they get you to empty everything out of your pockets before you go into the room. You go into the room, and the back of the toilet seat is taped. The toilet seat is taped down. You can't flush the toilet. The taps are all turned off. You can't use any of the taps. You got to pee in the bottle, and then you come back out and you give them the tap. It's controlled. It's controlled a lot, because many people have tried to circumnavigate the drug testing policy by using somebody else's urine, by diluting it with water and those types of things. So it is rigidly controlled now. Okay. All right. Let's see. Catch up here. Aruna. Oh, okay. Left turn, do we need to change lanes right immediately? If suppose we change the lane and there is a right lane ending sign, what action should be taken? Okay, so Aruna, if you're turning left at multi-lanes, yes, you do need to move to the right away. However, if there's a right lane ending soon, then no, don't move over to the right. Just stay in the left lane and carry on. Why 3R? Yes, that's a good point. You could pass a drug test by not doing a question. Yes, I am, Sam. Yeah, so I'm feeling better now, because when I started I was a little bit down, a little bit tired. So there we go. Charity. When traveling eastbound through an intersection, you have no stop sign, but the traffic going opposite does. Should you still slow down? No, Charity, don't slow down, but you can cover the brake, which the vehicle will slow down a little bit as you're going through the intersection. So essentially, just take your foot off the throttle, cover the brake. Once you're sort of past the midpoint of the intersection, then you can start to accelerate and resume speed again. But what you're doing is you're holding your foot over the brake pedal, and you're simply cutting down your reaction time. And it's one of the skills that you want to do while you're driving. Anytime that you see a hazard that potentially could become dangerous, or be at a high risk of a crash, you want to cover the brake is what you're doing. Okay. Let's see. There we go. Charity, high tech. I have a prescription for oxidone, but I heard even though it's prescribed, I'm not allowed to take them and drive a truck. Okay. High tech. So that is something completely different. You have a prescription from a medical doctor. If you have a prescription from a medical doctor, take that with you, and be very upfront about that with the company that you're applying for, with the lab. Tell them that, okay? I mean, who did you get? Okay, Corey, Wales game. Just delete that person, please. Okay, so, and that's what you need to do. You just need to be very transparent about the drug prescription medication that you're on, and where did you get the information that you could not take that medication and pass a drug test. Just let me know that. Okay, Dave, what's that question mean? Does every driver take DUI? Okay, Jesus, greetings from Asbury Park. Okay, so Jesus, you took a mock road test. How did that work out for you? Okay, there we go. Idris, 2 times failed in parallel parking, and I hate it, but will not quit to come. There you go. That's a great attitude. Idris, you just keep working on it there, and yeah, we'll get that going. You're going to be successful. So that's basically what you do, and that's why when people tell me that they failed a road test, no, you didn't fail a road test. You were simply unsuccessful. We only fail on something when we give up. Right? And sometimes, and one of my favorite quotes by Bruce Lee is that life gets kind of crazy, right? And it's, you know, it's going back to the Veda videos again, that life gets crazy. We get a lot of things on our plate, and it's the same thing with what Bruce Lee said about being in a fight. Even if the fight is really crazy, you need to step back from the fight and you need to determine effectively and quickly, is what I'm doing effective? And that's essentially what I was doing with the Veda video was, is this effective? Is what I'm doing effective? And I determined that no, in fact, it wasn't effective. And it's the same thing when smart drivers tell me that they were unsuccessful on the road test. They didn't fail. They were unsuccessful because you only fail when you give up, when you quit trying, when you're not going to work at it anymore. Eventually, you're going to pass that road test. And there are some people who take it 10, 12 times before they pass it. I don't know what it is. But we keep going, and eventually we're gonna be successful. So just keep working away at it, and you're gonna get it. Okay? Matt. See, and Matt says 14 years of driving and still not good at parallel parking. And we know, as driving experts, Sam will confirm what I'm saying about parallel parking, that we know that 70-80% of people who go on to get their driver's license are never going to parallel park again because they're not good at parallel parking. So if you're not good at parallel parking, don't take it a slight on who you are as a person, because it has nothing to do with that, okay? Okay, a driver cannot take a controlled substance or prescription medication without a prescription from a licensed practitioner. So the medication you're on, High Tech, do you not have a prescription for that? Where is it? Okay, that doesn't make sense because you said it was a prescribed medication. So you said you had a prescription. Do you not have a prescription? I'm confused. Just clarify that for me. Okay, so Jesus, I asked my driving instructor. Oh, so Jesus, you passed your road test, or did you just pass the mock road test? Just clarify that for me. Oh, Ryan, so you're being pressured by other traffic. Basically, you just take a deep breath and focus on what you're doing. I know that sounds fairly straightforward and fairly easy, but you got to remember that other traffic, as my driving instructor said to me when I learned to drive from Chris Doherty in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, said to me that other people have three choices. They can wait for you, they can go home, or they can crash into you. And it's not likely that they're going to crash into you. So just know that it's going to happen, that other people are going to pressure you, other people are going to honk at you, other people are going to be impatient, and they're going to be frustrated. And that's a reality of driving. It's the same thing that people are going to cut you off, people are going to speed, they're not going to stop at stop signs and those types of things. So when that happens, it's just say, oh, it happened, instead of saying, oh my God, nah, 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 nah. And cussing a blue moon, right? Know that it's going to happen. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And you just say, oh, there it goes, it happened. So that's what you do, right? You just know that it's going to happen. And a lot of times that will relieve a lot of the pressure that you're having in terms of driving, okay? So, oh, okay. Well, I'm glad that you did. So it's all going to work out for you, High Tech, because we really want to get you going on the CDL thing here. Matt, I've never had to parallel park, which is the reason I never got good at it. Excellent. That's great. Okay. Okay, so Aruna, in order to book a mock road test, you just go to a driving school and you tell them, you say, listen, I want to book an hour or 90-minute road test, and I want to do a mock road test before I go in for my test. That's all you do. You book it, and you might need to book it 2 or 3 weeks in advance because some of these driving schools are fairly busy, but they will do a mock road test for you in preparation for going for your test. Okay? Hey Zeus, that's awesome. Congratulations. And yeah, I remember talking to you before because you were down there in New Jersey. So pass the road test first time because you did a mock road test. And yes, that's what you need to do. For all of you watching on the replay, for those of you watching now live, yes, 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 do a mock road test because the information that I give you here is good information. Yes, it will apply to most driving centers in most places in the world for most classes of license, but there's always going to be nuance. And Ian, I believe, from Perth, Australia, excuse me. was telling me today that they require push-pull for the steering wheel. So it's push-pull, milking the cow, as Sam says. So know that in some places it's going to be push-pull. Other places it's going to be acceptable that it is hand over hand. Other places you're going to be able to open your fingers and let the steering wheel come back through. Other places are going to require that you manipulate the steering wheel back to the straight position. And you're not going to know that unless you go and see a driving instructor in your local area who knows the nuances of where you're going to be taking the test, and they'll be able to give you that information. Okay, Mrs. Milton, a mock road test is simply a driving instructor who teaches people to pass a road test every day. That's their job. They will take you out for 60 minutes or an hour, and they will apply all of the competencies that you need to do in order to pass a road test with the DMV, the whatever testing authority that you have. So that's basically what it is they're going to assess your driving, and they're going to tell you that your left-hand turns are good, your right-hand turns are good, you can parallel park, but your speed control needs work in order to be successful in passing a road test. That's what a mock road test is. And thank you for asking that, because I've said that a lot of times, and I suspect that you are not alone. It's probably a lot of people who didn't understand what a mock road test. A mock road test is just a test. Instead of being applied to you by the examination, like the DMV or the MTO or ICBC or whoever administers the tests, Vic Roads in Australia or whatnot, they're just going to do a test, and they're going to assess your abilities and your skills, and they're going to tell you whether you're ready to pass a road test or not. So that's what it is. Okay? All right. Sam, I had a student that is terrified of changing lanes and hates to do it. She told me that she will not be changing lane when she gets her license. I would agree with you, Sam, that you cannot drive and not change lanes. You have to change lanes. So there you go. Yes, indeed. He or she may get away with not parallel parking, but not changing lanes, no. Jen, other people pressuring me to drive faster need to thank me for driving the speed limit because they won't be getting a ticket today. That's a good attitude, Jen. Yes, you're the bear buster. There we go. Okay, so the admirable, a practice road test. Yes, it is a practice road test, but essentially the driving instructor that applies the mock road test is going to give you feedback on your skills and abilities and your techniques and skills that you have in place to be able to drive. Okay, and the oversteer issue, I used a spinner knob on the steering wheel and it was better today, but I still need some help. Okay, so Ryan, maybe what you might need to do, Ryan, is you might be able to get somebody to help you to go out to the parking lot and look at that learning to drive video and work on some control of the primary controls and see if that helps you out. So just go into a parking lot and look at the exercises in that learning to drive video and just sort of maybe take a step back and revisit the fundamentals and then see if that helps out your oversteering on your corners and turns after you do a bit of practice in the parking lot, and see if that helps you out. I heard myths that some drivers' written tests area are easier than others. Yeah, that's true, Dave, that some tests are easier than other places. It really depends on where you're taking your test in the world. And it's going to province to province, state to state. Where you are in the world is all going to depend on the driving test center where you take your test. For example, Class A tractor trailer, I mean, there are, in Victoria, British Columbia, for example, students had to parallel park the truck, which is probably one of the hardest maneuvers for tractor trailer drivers. In other licensing centers, tractor trailer drivers only had to back up 50 feet in a straight line, which is really simple. So yeah, it varies from place to place. Okay, Mrs. Milton. Okay, basically, Mrs. Milton, what you do to get a mock road test, you just call a local driving school and you say, listen, I want to book a mock road test so it's a driving lesson for 60 to 90 minutes. The driving instructor will take you out. It usually, I don't know, costs of driving schools vary a little bit here in British Columbia, where I live in Canada. It'd probably be about $100. I don't know, maybe Sam can tell us what it might be for a driving lesson to do a mock road test there in New York, and we'd have a comparable price. Yeah, so here it's about $100, and basically the driving instructor takes you out and puts you through all the skills and abilities that you would need to do to pass a road test, and then they give you feedback on what skills are in place and what skills need some work before you go for your road test. And the other reason that I promote this and I advocate this is because if you're unsuccessful on a road test, it's going to take longer to build your self-confidence than it is you just spend $100 and then you're just going to be successful. Like Jesus, he took a mock road test and then passed his road test and was golden first time. So a little bit extra work can really help you out a lot. And the other thing is as one of the driving instructors told me here, my good mate Peter, who runs ABC Driving School, Peter was saying that you want to book 2 to 3 weeks in advance, because sometimes these driving schools can be fairly booked up, so it might take you a couple of weeks to get in to do one. Okay, perfect. There we go. Ryan's figured out. Fusion Knife, any tips for learning to drive a vehicle with no rear or side windows? Cargo vans particularly. Oh, definitely. Fusion Knife, definitely what you want to do is you want to go and get some of those 36-inch, 1 meter tall pylons, and you want to work in a parking lot with those, because what you're going to have to do in one of those vans, cargo vans that don't have any rear windows or side windows, is you're going to have to learn to back up with the mirrors. And so basically what you want to do is you want to set the pylons up in a straight line, and you want to back up along those pylons on both sides until you get used to the mirrors. When you can do that effectively on both sides of the vehicle, backing up with the mirrors, then what you want to do is you want to set the pylons up in such a way that you can back around corners, back around to the right and back around to the left. And the other thing that I suggest in a cargo van is back around to the driver's side, and that way you're going to keep all the obstacles and other vehicles and whatnot on your sight side, because you'll be able to roll down the window and look out the window. So that's the ways that you can do that. All right. Yes, Dave, that is true. Some of the places are only 5 minutes long in the States, especially where Sam is there in New York City. These can be fairly short because they've got a lot of people that they got to put through, so they can be shorter. I know in Ontario some of these tests are 35, 40 minutes, so it really depends where you are. Okay. Charity. Right turn, is it mandatory to turn into the far right lane before switching lanes, or can you turn into any lane? Right lane. So basically, Charity, when you're turning, it's left lane to left lane, and when you're turning right, it's right lane to right lane is basically what you want to do. And then after you get around the corner and you execute the turn, then you want to change lanes. And the reasons for that is simply safety and try and do one thing at a time. So they're trying to get you to do skills, techniques, and maneuvers in a sequential order when you're driving. That's essentially what they're getting you to do. Okay, Summit. Okay, I saw a minor collision today with a driver turning right from the left lane. Okay, so the driver turning right from the left lane, rear-ended by the driver going straight from the right lane, and possibly at higher speeds. Whose fault was it? Well, basically, Summit, from the little bit of information that I have here, I can simply posit that the person turning right from the left lane was at fault, because you really, like I said, right lane to right lane, left lane to left lane, and that's the way it works. Okay. The road test here in New York is about 10 minutes long. To check if people are road test ready, we charge them $20 for a mock road test. There you go. I mean, come on, $20 for a mock road test to see if you're ready for a road test? That's a bargain. That's a bargain at twice the price. So yeah, definitely, if it's only $20 for a mock road test in New York City, I'm going for a mock road test. Everybody book a mock road test with Sam. There you go. Yep, Michael. See, there's a huge variance. So in New York City, where Sam is working with Rookie Auto Driving School down there, it's 10 minutes for a road test. Where Michael's taking his road test, just remind me, Michael, where you are in the world. My apologies about that. It's 45 minutes. His road test was 45 minutes, so it does different. Dave, yes, I do. I use YouTube's tool to put them in there. Actually, Corey does that for me. Jen, I'm going to New York City now. Jen, it could be a bit of a drive to New York City from Washington State. Oh, Curtis passed his road test. Congratulations. That's really great. All the best on that. Okay. And you can fail, not even take your test out of the lot. Yes, Y3R. You definitely have to make sure that your vehicle is in good working order. And there's a pre-trip video here, and Corey will get that up for you too as well. Make sure that things are tickety-boo with your car, because if something isn't working, so say for example the passenger seatbelt isn't working and won't clip, then unfortunately you're not going to go out on your road test, because driving examiners aren't safe. And so know that, okay? And yes, and I'll just introduce Jen here. Jen, what's your username? What's your handle here? Jen. Sorry, apologies. Bear with me for 1 sec. Jen Rain. Jen and I did a video, and Jen has low vision, and we did a video, and it's really great. And this is one of the other reasons that I'm not doing video, because I want to get that video done and I want to get it up, because I know it's going to help a lot of people with disabilities who are wanting to learn how to drive. And Jen was really awesome, so I want to get that video up for you, and so look forward to that. Okay, so that's another thing that we're doing. I am here. There you go. Okay, thanks, Jen. I got that. Yeah, so we're gonna get that video up, and we went down during March break and did that video. And like I said, there's videos sitting in the back burner that need to be done that I haven't got done, and it just like I said. And Dave's feedback was exactly correct on Veda. What happened was I just ran out of ideas, and there wasn't enough to talk about, and I felt the quality of the videos wasn't there, so I stopped doing it, and we're doing other things. Easton, hi there. Okay, so and Corey says that the road test in Winnipeg was about 30 minutes, and where'd he go? Where'd he go? Michael is in Michigan, and his road test was 45 minutes. And I know that the road tests in Ontario are 30 to 40 minutes. So it really depends where you are in the world and where you're doing your road test. So it will depend on the length, okay? How long does it take Corey to type up all the captions? Let me tell you that he's not typing all the captions verbatim. The tool that YouTube provides to put the captions in is about 70% correct. You got to put in all the punctuation, you got to put in all the capitalization, and then fix any keywords that aren't in there. But the other thing that you do when you're doing captions on your videos in YouTube is then you take that caption and you make a blog post out of it and put it on your website, and then that way you're going to be found in both YouTube and in Google, because some of you may or may not know YouTube is a search engine, and so is Google, and you want to be found in those two search engines, because those two search engines are the top 2 search engines on the world. Okay, my mommy's phoning me, so I got to phone my mommy back. It's interesting having all this tech now, because now I can talk on the phone on my computer, which is kind of interesting. So okay, Easton. Okay, so you have one ear that you're deaf in. Easton, that is probably a better question for your medical doctor, and I would really counsel you to go and see your medical doctor and see what he or she says about not having hearing in one ear, because I can't counsel you on that. The other people that you might talk to is that there might be a center that helps people with disabilities to learn to drive, and there's an occupational therapist who can give you some recommendations as well. And Jen might be able to, I'll look up the video. Jen sent me a video. There's an occupational therapist out of Minnesota. I believe it was Minnesota. Was it not, Jen, that was talking about she was doing driving and vision with people? Now that might have something to do with hearing as well, and she might be able to have the answer to that question. So we'll figure that out for you, okay? Parking for passing the road test. Jeanette, parking for passing the road test. Well, we have a whole playlist of parking for passing the road test, so we'll get that for you. Corey will get that up for you. Okay? Lydia. Okay, so yes, Lydia, they still do ask you about hand signals when you go to drive. They will ask you about that. It's not so much about the lights on your vehicle not working anymore. It's really more about motorcycles, and they tend to ask that question a lot more with motorcycles in case the signals and those types of things aren't working. So yeah, okay. So, but just know there is a quick video here on hand signals and how to do hand signals, and that will help you out with your hand signals and whatnot. Okay. So there we go. Ibukun, I also discovered that the more I drive to become, yes, and the more comfortable you become about it. And I'll tell you a story about that. The other day I told you Kenworth, Inland Kenworth here in Vernon, let me take a truck out on a road test. So I did some videos in it, and it's one of those things. You know, I hadn't been in a truck for about a year now. I haven't driven. I mean, I'm still good at it. I can still drive the truck, but driving the truck and talking to you on the cameras in the truck, now that proved to be a little bit more difficult. That level of multitasking, I just don't have the experience with that anymore. And of course, the other thing was it was a new truck, right? And it always takes a little bit to kind of get used to a different vehicle. And so that was a bit interesting as well. So, you know, talking to the cameras, there were a few times I had to start over again and whatnot. Okay, Paula. So Paula, one of the things I suggest to you to do in order to be really ready for your road test is to start out, just take a step back, go back to the parking lot, get some of those 36-inch, 1 meter tall pylons in the video that Corey put up on learning to drive. Do the exercises in that. That will really improve your overall driving. And I'll just reiterate this again because I say this a lot. Do the slow speed maneuvers. Go back to the parking lot, revisit the fundamentals, do the parallel parking, do the 2-point reverse turns, the 3-point turns. Do all of those, and all of that will help you out and improve your overall driving, okay? And sometimes that's what you got to do. You got to go back and revisit the fundamentals. And when I was learning to drive or learning martial arts, it was the same thing. Sometimes you just had to go back and revisit the fundamentals because you were getting too far ahead of yourself. So know all of that, and just maybe you need to revisit the fundamentals for driving, and that will help you to be successful on your road test. Okay, Sadan, how are you, my friend? Oh, I'm sorry I missed you, and I know that you have a message on Facebook, and I'm sorry I've gotten so busy with this month, it's just kind of got away from me. So I'll get a response to you. I do apologize about that, and welcome to the live stream. It's really great. Sadan, for those of you who don't know, Sadan is from Russia and is working to become a truck driver, and I think come to the States. Yes, very great. All right, there we go. Okay, the Admiral, the car doing the left-hand turn. Oh no, Admiral, I thought you said that there was a car in the left lane that was making a right-hand turn. Did I misinterpret that? Okay, Matt. Yes, and Matt, that is another requirement in terms of parking for hill parking. And remember, for hill parking, it's the 3-in-1 rule. The only time that you turn the wheels out is when you're uphill against a curb. You turn the wheels out and then let the car roll back until the back of the front tire rolls up against the curb. The rest of the time, it's always in against the shoulder of the road. So it's the 3-in-1 rule for parking on hills. Okay, Jeanette, it's not a matter of whether you have to do a 2-point reverse park. The driving examiners have discretion in terms of what they can ask you to do. So they can basically ask you to parallel park, 2-point reverse turn, curb parking, reverse stall parking, and 3-point turns. They can ask you any one of those slow speed maneuvers, and which one they ask you is not a definitive on a road test. So know that you have to be prepared for any one of those maneuvers. And if the driving examiner asks you any one of those maneuvers, you have to be able to do it on a road test. All right. Tommy. Yes, there you go. And Tommy took his in Oshawa, Ontario, Canada. So know that you have to be prepared. It's up to the discretion of the driving examiner and what you know, and sometimes it comes down to the fact of what he or she had for breakfast or what he or she had for lunch as to what they're going to get you to do for the purposes of a road test. So know that, and you have to be prepared. And again, the slow speed maneuvers can be reverse stall park, 3-point turn, 2-point reverse turn, parallel park, and curb parking. All of those can be on the test. And have a look at the parking maneuvers, and there's a playlist here, and Corey will probably get that for you. Y3R. So then the curb on a hill, you face the wheels towards the curb. Well, if there isn't, face it towards the street. Yes, Y3R when you're uphill with a curb. That's the only time that the wheels are out. And basically you come up, turn the car a little bit like this, and then let it roll back until the back of the front tire rests against the curb. The rest of the time it's always in against the shoulder, so it's 3 in 1. Dissonant. What book is the best on how to pass the road test? Well, the driving manual that your state or province or jurisdiction gives you, and then all the videos on my channel. Particularly pay attention to the license pass a road test playlist, and that'll help you out. Okay, Dissonant. And if you have any specific questions, by all means, leave me a comment here on the channel, and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions and get back to you. Yes, great advice, Sadan. That's really great. And how to pass a road test. Okay, in Dissonant, I'll just revisit that question for you again. Know that it doesn't matter where you take your road test in the world or what vehicle you're driving, all road tests consist of 4 major parts. Speed management, space management, communication, and observation. Those are the 4 components. So speed management, posted speed limit, flow of traffic, whichever is less. Space management, don't get near other cars. Maintain a following distance of 2 to 3 seconds. Stop in the correct stopping position. Stop in traffic so you can see the tires of the vehicle in front of you making clear contact with the pavement. And don't get near any fixed objects. Observation, make sure you have your scanning patterns in place. You're looking far down the road. You're doing your shoulder checks. You're doing your scanning patterns. And when you're parking and reverse parking, you're looking out the back window. You can pause and do a 360-degree scan before you're going and make sure there aren't other vehicles around you and those types of things. And then finally, you have to communicate with the traffic via your lights, your horn, hand gestures, appropriate hand gestures. Don't tell other drivers you're number 1 on a road test. You won't be successful. Eye contact with other drivers. And finally, position of the vehicle on the roadway will all indicate to other traffic what you're doing. So those are the major components for any road test wherever you are. Okay, Joey? Okay, Joey. Yeah, unfortunately that's a tough situation, and you know, it's like I say, sometimes people who should pass a road test don't pass, and sometimes people who shouldn't pass a road test do pass. And that's one of those situations in the driving environment that's very frustrating when you're telling a pedestrian to go because he or she has the right of way and they don't go, and then you go, and then the driving examiner deems that to be wrong. And I can't comment on that any further than that, but unfortunately it's not good. So yeah. Okay. I need to, yes. Y3R, yes, that's basically what you need to do. You need to breathe and you need to practice, okay? Practice, practice, practice. Y3R, okay, now Sam is going to agree with me in terms of wearing sunglasses. There are some driving instructors that will say, no, you can't wear sunglasses because the driving examiner wants to see your eyes. Personally, I think that's rubbish. Because I'm very photosensitive and I cannot drive in sunlight without sunglasses. I actually have 2 extra pairs of sunglasses in my car in case I forget my sunglasses, because it is incredibly painful for me to drive in the sun without sunglasses. I need to have sunglasses. So if you need to have sunglasses while you're driving on your road test and it's a sunny day, wear your sunglasses and have them with you, okay? And it's the same for people who might need prescription glasses. Make sure that you have prescription glasses. Easton, where are you in the world that they're free? They're not free anywhere else. Dave, well, we have to support the government with our road tests. There you go. Okay, Matt, you can get a lot of driver manuals on the internet. Yeah, yes, you're exactly right, Matt. Most of the driving manuals are available on the internet. There you go. Y3R, if you have sensitivity to sunlight, simply tell that to the driving examiner when you're on your test, or before your test, before you set out, that you need to wear sunglasses, and just say, listen, I cannot see, I have to squint, so I need to wear sunglasses, okay? And there's actually a video here on seeing. Have a look at that. Corey will dig that up for you, and then you can have a look at that. So Easton's in Missouri. There we go. All right, so I think I got everybody. If I missed anybody, by all means, leave me a comment and I'll be more than happy to give that to you, answer your questions, and help you out and make sure that you're successful in passing a road test. And consider subscribing if you haven't already subscribed. And if you like what you hear here, give it a thumbs up. And again, we're going to go back to 2 videos a week and the live stream on Sunday at 6 every week. And for those of you watching on the replay, thank you very much for watching. Please leave a comment. And there, Sam just commented, and Sam is in New York City. He said he agrees with the sunglasses. And if the sun messes with your vision, wear your sunglasses, okay? So Dissonance, thanks for streaming. When a pedestrian is walking across, do I allow a lane of space or wait till the person has crossed entirely? Dissonant, there's a video here on pedestrians and turning. And what I tell students is that you need 1 lane of space between you and the pedestrian. So say, for example, you're turning right onto 2 lanes. You want the pedestrian to reach the center of the roadway, and then you can turn. And the reason for that is because you want a buffer of space in case that they have children or they forgot something and they turn around and come back. And that's the reason for that. Okay? Dave, yay for 2 vids a week. Dave, yes, Veda almost killed me. It did. But we're going back to high quality. Dave, yes, somebody did almost try and run me over one night. I was walking down for the Veda, somebody in a Dodge pickup truck. There we go. So there's the can you see video. Miguel, yes, you can practice in New York City as long as you have a licensed driver with you in the vehicle. Dave, that is true about the school bus in the state of New York. Now, know that there are some differences in driving in the state of New York, and New York tends to want to mess things up a little bit. So, yes, you cannot pass a school bus in the state of New York if there's an island in the center of the road. So, but, again, this comes down to social driving. If there is an island in the center of the road and you're going to stop for a school bus, there's a good chance you're going to get rear-ended. So know that, and you weigh that up, okay? So thank you, everybody, for showing up. Consider subscribing. Give it a thumbs up if you're watching on the replay. If you have any questions, leave a comment down in the comment section. All of that's really great. And for all of you who have been successful, all the smart drivers who've been successful in the last week or 2 on passing a road test, congratulations on that. All the best to you. And thank you very much for coming in tonight. And thank you for sharing your time with me. And if you're coming up for a road test, good luck in your road test. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a great night. Bye now.